the mind, the mind, the mind, yeah. Tired of being sober, never getting older. I got all the time, would you pour some wine for me? Smile for me, and not grind on me, yeah. We keep prepping long nights, rock your body whole life. Don't bother the world side, twerk it like a Vegas stripper, dollar money stage mine. Billions in a cage fight, fuck their thoughts and get high, and get high. It's all about the mind, we'll be doing fine. Living on the edge, sometimes alright. Fame is how we ride, life is all about time. Feeling like the world is beyond our sight. It's all about the mind, we'll be doing fine. Fine, it's alright, it's how we ride. Feeling like the world is beyond our sight. It's your mind, your thoughts, your life. So don't you bother the worst knife. We are all the same, you don't have to explain, no. Just stay in your lane. It's all about the mind, we'll be doing fine. Living on the edge, sometimes alright. Fame is how we ride.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are exactly right now. Welcome to this webinar in Sport Law to introduce you one of our best programs in the Real Madrid School. I'm Marisa Sainz, in charge of the school. Let me just give you a little view about the Real Madrid School with Universidad Europea. Probably not all of you know, but this school, this link between the Universidad Europea and Real Madrid started in the 2006 when it wasn't so obvious that we have an industry related with sports with a lot of necessities to develop professionals in this field. When we started in the 2006, the link was because Universidad Europea was looking for the link with the industry to really teach to the best professionals, and Real Madrid look to give back to the society part of the love that they were receiving, and education was a good way to do it. We have at present 20 programs, postgraduate studies in everything related with sports, from MBA, sport law, like this program, marketing, physiotherapy, sport nutrition, training, psychology, almost everything that you can find in this field. 50% of the programs are already in English because of this global view of the Real Madrid School. Something important for you is now we are very proud that we have more than 11,000 alumni all around the world, because 73% of our students are from abroad, but also with a lot of diversity. We are talking every single year about more than 50 nationalities in the classrooms. It's very easy, especially in this program, to find 20 classmates and probably at the same time 20 different nationalities. That is something very enriching for the professors, but also for the students. Most of our faculty, like you are going to see today with Juan de Dios Crespo, are professionals in the sport field, but also great reference. They are going to teach you probably things that are unable to find in a book, because if it is in a book, probably it's too old to be in a postgraduate. So welcome to the webinar. Today you have Alberto Ruiz de Aguilar, that is one of our best directors of the program, also a professional in the field, and Juan de Dios Crespo, that is cooperating in all the programs that we have, always they are living day after day. So welcome you both, and I hope that you will enjoy the webinar. Thank you very much, Alberto and Juan de Dios.
Thank you very much, Marisa, and for your kindly words. Welcome, everybody. And this is Alberto Aguilar. Marisa told us I am a sports lawyer, but today I'm playing the role of the Director of International Master in Sports Law organized by Real Madrid Graduate School. And this week, Real Madrid Graduate School is organizing 3 different online master classes where we will have as guests different professionals involved in the sports industry. Today, our guest is the really well-known lawyer, sports lawyer, Juan de Dios Crespo. And usually, when I have to introduce himself as a lecturer in classes, seminars, congress, or webinars, because we match many times in different events, I always say that we could spend the whole afternoon quoting his professional achievements or reading his CV. Right? Mr. Crespo was one of the first, if not the first, international sports lawyer, and he has been involved in sports for more than 20 years. As a lawyer, he has been working with, of course, famous football players, famous coaches, famous agents, big clubs, famous athletes, national and international confederation. And he has been a speaker before the legal committee of the European Parliament. He is frequently called to intervene as lecturer or professor in the most famous graduate schools, universities and academic institutions around the world. And with regard to Real Madrid, one of our most prestigious lecturers, giving classes in international masters in sports law, international master online sports law, master universitario del derecho del deporte, MBA, master in international football, among others. So welcome, Juan de Dios, and thank you so much for being here. We know that you are really busy, so we really appreciate that you can come here and to share with us all your experience. So my first question would be, how do you feel when you hear all of this professional knowledge, recognition? After so many years in this world, at least you will have the feeling of work well done. Won't you?
Okay, good afternoon or good day or good evening. I don't know exactly where people is right now. Thanks for the invitation. I'm a fan of Real Madrid School. I'm lecturing, as you said, in 6 or 7 of those masters. An easy answer would have been, how do you feel after those years? I would say old, but no, I feel young. And I feel that I'm still away from my achievements. One of the issues to be a sports lawyer is that you always have something to say, always something to dig in. This morning, for instance, I was in a hearing in CAS, of course, online hearing, and we were discussing about what is an assault or what is a rough play. And when you have to discuss this in front of lawyers from UEFA, it becomes like a doctrinal discussion, a struggle between intelligences, and not anymore only a football match and a kick of one player with the elbow to another one. So every day is different day. So how do I feel? Young and anew, every day anew.
Okay. And when you started 20 years ago, did you think that you would become the sports lawyer that you are today, Juan de Dios?
Well, I started 35 years ago. Before that, before being a lawyer in sports law 35 years ago, and even I was starting with a couple of small cases. Before that, I was a member of the board of the Futsal Federation. And I was only 21, 22 when I was in the board. And the only thing I was thinking at that time is, wow, I love that. I love the law and I love sports. So am I going to be a sports lawyer? I didn't know at the time that the sports lawyers exist. So you say, were you thinking about being that kind of sport lawyer, a successful or not sport lawyer? I don't know. I was just enjoying time. Only with the years that has passed, you can imagine that, yes, this is what I would have loved to be. But one thing I lack at that time is to have a master, to have some people or somebody or some professor to lecture me. And this is why I'm so proud, and I encourage all the young lawyers to be or to sign to a master in sports law, because what I like the most is the somebody who can teach me how to go one way or another, how to behave before a body or not. It did not exist at the time. So this is the only thing I can see that I like. But you asked me, I did not expect to be that kind of sport lawyer, because I did not expect to be a sport lawyer at all.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So let's start speaking about the issue which is dominating the headlines currently, which is of course coronavirus, and I would like to speak about it from at least two perspectives. First, Juan de Dios, managing or being the partner or the main partner, founder of a law firm specialized in international sport law with many people working for you. How the coronavirus is affecting the daily work in your law firm?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. First of all, we have been without real cases for 2 or 3 months, from the 15th more or less of March until the mid of May. We have been doing a lot of webinars. We have been all talking about the coronavirus, the COVID and FIFA, COVID and UEFA, COVID and BAT, Basketball Arbitration Tribunal, COVID and CAS, all the changes that have been made by those bodies. Now, after what happened after those 3 first months, we can say that the COVID has been a new neighbor to our usual law firm activities. It was not there, and now is a friend, or is an enemy, depending if you win or you lose. But for instance, on the transfer that we have been suffering, I mean suffering because it was not only June, July, August, September, until the 5th of October, we have been dealing with transfers, and all the contracts of one party or another were trying to implement COVID. So force majeure, COVID, etc. And so we're discussing a lot about it is necessary to include the force majeure or the COVID in the contract. Can we just say a pandemic, etc.? So from the beginning until now, non-payment of transfer fee because of COVID. The last decision I just received yesterday, today, this morning, early morning, FIFA said that there's not an answer, a legal answer to say that I did not pay my transfer fee because of the COVID and the pandemic and my lack of resources to pay. This is not necessarily the way to defend ourselves if you are in a party that doesn't want to pay. Transfer, breach of contract, non-payment of salaries, reduction of salaries. Right now we are facing, not me, but we are facing in Spain, the Barcelona Football Club, which is trying to mitigate or to diminish the salaries of its players because of the COVID, and the players, all of them -3, as far as I know, have signed a letter saying, no, COVID is not enough. I don't want you to take unilaterally a decision to reduce my salaries. So right now, COVID, like in the movie Love Actually, love is in the air, COVID is in the air, and not only in a real sense, but also in a mental sense. It's there. Everywhere you can watch one way or another, COVID is there.
Okay. And do you think that the sports family has achieved to adapt to the current situation? I mean, have, for instance, the International Federation, at least the biggest one, issued any regulation to deal with this exceptional situation?
But this is absolutely, I might say difficult. No, it's impossible. FIFA has said in his regulation or is question and answer on COVID, that each party, each member of the family, which is the federation, is free to decide on what to do. But mostly what they said is, look, you have to follow the rules of your own country, the regulatory rules of your country. So in some countries, it is mandatory to have an agreement. In some countries, with a law, you can decide to mitigate and to reduce the salary. It's so different in everybody and everything, that the only issue that I can answer you on how we have dealt, or we stakeholders of sport, we dealt with that, is the decision taken by the CAS and by the BAT, the Basketball Arbitration Tribunal, in which they have prepared and have started some guidelines to help the COVID, or to help to enhance the situation against the COVID. For instance, we are all doing now hearings on video conferences, which is not the best way to defend a client. We all know that. We rather prefer to have a direct relationship with not only the client, but also the adversary. Also, in a cross-examination against the witness, it's much better to be there, look at the eyes, you and me in front. And but we have managed, thanks to the decision of CAS to do those hearings in video conference, to have a new kind of sports law. Is a new that is going to stay? I don't think so. I think that we lawyers, once we got the vaccine and once we got the possibility to travel one way or another all around the globe, we will come back to the physical presence only in the matters in which you cannot be able to pay, or your client not be able to pay the trips and accommodation in different countries, Lausanne in Switzerland mostly, but all over the world. It will be much easier for you to follow that rule. Why? Because now we have been experiencing this since my first hearing was at the end of March to today. On those months, I was only once in Lausanne, and one of my associates another time, so twice only in, let's say, 25 or 30 hearings. So now we are accustomed, we know how to manage this new possibility or new life within the CAS. So it's going to stay? No, but are we learned a bit? Yes, we have learned a bit or a lot about doing other things. And one issue also, this is important. We used to manage WhatsApp or phone calls, etc. Now with the COVID coming into our lives, we've seen and have been involved in a lot of direct relationship with clients that were not normally so daily basis. Now I can talk to a client in Bolivia or in China once or twice a week, when normally I used to talk once a month. And this is interesting because we have known how to use more than what we have, a tool that we had. I don't want to name. Yes, I want to name Zoom, Microsoft, etc. All the Skype, etc. All the tools that we have, and now I'm much more attached to that. And I like to ask my client, let's have a Zoom tomorrow. Let's have a Microsoft. Let's have a Skype. And before I was less in connection with my clients, and now I can assure you that I'm much more in connection, which is something that I've learned. I wasn't too much willing to do that, not to do video conferences, but this has prepared me to that. To the end, the last and not the least, when it comes to the webinars, there's a lot of webinars, and we used to go to a place and to have a lecture or to have a congress, etc. Now we can make something much more wide, a wider issue. You have 100 of people in one place, you have 1,000 around the world. So I think also that this issue of being in a webinar, not physically but online, is something that will stay in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. And do you think that, or which is your bet for this second wave of the virus? Do you think that could lead to the suspension of the ongoing competitions or not?
You mean if the virus should terminate the competition or should suspend the competition?
Well, because knowing that we are suffering now the second or so-called second wave of the virus, and there are many competitions currently running, do you think this second wave could lead to the suspension of competition? I mean, it's your personal bet for this issue.
If we suspend competition, we suspend sport, we suspend everything, it will be worse than what we are doing now. What we are doing now is we suspend one match, and we have, of course, rules. When you go to the AFC, Asian Football Confederation, you see that in the last Champions League, whenever you have less than I think it's 13 people, you might lose the match. And of course, if you have not taken care of your players and they have COVID, you can lose a match, or you can be ousted from the competition. That happened also in the Champions League and Europa League in Europe, and that happened also in other countries. I think that the way now is to do as much as possible what we can in order to finish, to do the competition and then to finish the competition. Even if you have to decide with playoff or we decide with less matches, etc. We can't now, after what we have suffered in the first wave and what happened in France, Belgium, in the Netherlands, in which they have ended the competition in football at least, and other sports too, dramatically. I think that right now we have all learned, and the bodies of sports body around the world have understood and have learned that we have to stay. We have to manage to stay in which we were before, even if we don't have spectators. Of course, we can see the other day I was watching matches in France, in Rennes. There were 10,000 spectators. In other country, in Barcelona, there were no spectators. So it depends on the country. You can have one or two or nil or thousands, but we have to play. We have to have the people play, because if we stop the competition, we stop the industry. We stop the industry. We stop the industry. It's not only for us, a lawyer. Of course, it is a major problem, but it will be a major problem for everyone in the world. Everyone, not only sports bodies, also the clubs, players, sportmen, sport women, and activities around that. For instance, the company of clothes, the clothes company. I mean, Nike, Adidas, etc. All of them. I mean, if you don't have possibility to show everything, it will be a mess. So, frankly speaking, now we have learned and we have understood the first wave, and with the second wave, we are going to travel with the COVID alongside, and is not going to stop us.
Yeah, quite interesting opinion. So let's speak about your work as a sports lawyer. And my question is, in your daily work, are you more a lawyer, more a manager, more a businessman?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting question. I'm not more a lawyer, more a manager, more a businessman. I'm tripartite. I do three things and more and more. I'm a lecturer, I'm a writer, I'm a journalist sometimes. I don't want to show myself as too high esteem, but let's say that we are like Renaissance lawyers now. We do everything. We manage, make business, we sell ourselves because we have to sell ourselves. We lecture, we prepare people for the future in sports law. We have interns in our firms, and all and everything makes me what I am right now. I am a Renaissance man in sports law, which means that we have to try not to focus only in one aspect of the law, but in many of the aspects of the law. And I encourage all and everyone not to stop in one or another of the spot, and to try to go further and further.
Okay. Um, well, we know that the sports world is constantly evolving, and I would like to speak about how things have changed in these past years. Who are now clients that years ago were not considered as such? And what are the fields you would never have considered important at the beginning, but today they are really are important?
This is a lot of question in one sentence. Evolving, of course. Sports have evolved a lot. And I don't want to repeat myself, and maybe some of the people that's now listening to me has already been in touch with me and know what I'm going to say. But when I started, when you wanted to go to FIFA, you go to FIFA. I'm remembering 1994, going to FIFA, and the first thing I received, the first shot I received is a book in which you have to sign because you were a guest. So you sign, I'm here in FIFA, blah, 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 you're guest. Now you don't have that anymore. Now we are lawyers, we're part of the game. We are not people coming and being invited or guests in FIFA. That comes also to the other point. Now FIFA is calling you to your mobile phone, or FIFA, UEFA, or to your sending an email, and before you have to pass through other steps. Like I remember one of the cases I had at the very beginning, 1995, 1996, they told me, you have to send all your documents to the federation. I said, I don't have any federation. I'm a lawyer. No, you're client of the federation, but I'm sorry, my client gave me a power of attorney, and I can do whatever I want. So the first step. The second step is that we were blocked by a so-called impossibility to go to the civil courts. This was not true. And also I remember 1997 when I had the first case against FIFA in the Court of Justice in Zurich. This has changed a lot. Has made FIFA and other bodies change because they have accepted a court of arbitration for sport. That court the case was not well known, and when football came into the scheme on 2002 for UEFA and 2004 for FIFA, it increased dramatically, and now everybody knows CAS. CAS is in the mouth of everyone, lawyers, agents, players, everyone knows CAS. So this is also a change. And the last but not the least, I see that the bodies are much more professional than before. The bodies, they have to take care of the rules of the game, of the rules of the regulations of the statutes of every sport. And when I started, I sensed that we were not in the hands of professionals, in the sense that they were not taking too much into account that this is a legal matter. When you have regulation, when you have disciplinary cases, when you have breach of contract, when you have an appeal, all of this is legal. And you don't have to forget or to put the law apart. And the law was always sent apart. You lawyers, you're going to drive me mad. I remember a president of a federation saying, we are not driving mad anyone. We are trying to help the clients, clubs, players, athletes, federations, etc. So I saw in the last 32, 34 years that we have seen now, we know that we all and each other part of the game, and that we are not one against the other, but one within the other. This is the big change. On the other two questions that you have in the question, I don't remember exactly what we were asking. But
well, clients that you never thought that could be considered as clients and today are considered as real clients.
You mean?
I mean, yeah, clients that in the past you would never consider that could become a client, but today is considered as a client related to the sports. I mean, I'm thinking maybe a skater or an influencer or something like that.
Anyone now, but not now. When I started, my first case was a chess player with a contract with this professor. The professor is the manager is the agent, is both, or more than that. You know, and I see that sports is not stopped by anything. You have clients that are, I don't know, cycling, of course, but chess player. You have skaters, of course. You have e-sport men and women. The e-sport is coming in, and also federation that were not willing to be clients of lawyers. They have their own internal lawyers, in-house lawyers, but they are also coming to the specialist in sports law. So federation, confederation, marketing companies, all and everybody who's linked in a way with sport needs a sports lawyer. A sports lawyer that, in my opinion, will now change a bit in another kind of specialist. There will be an international sports lawyer, a discipline sports lawyer. You can have also now a doping sports lawyer. There are specialists in doping. And wow, I see that the sports law that we had at the very beginning, 30 years ago, which did not exist and were sports lawyer, now we have different markets in the sports law, different type of sports.
Okay. And what department in your law firm you never thought that would be so necessary as today?
When I started this, I was doing mostly international law agency, which is the same as an agent in sport, but agency, distribution, joint venture, etc. And I was alone in my firm. Then we were 2, then 3, then 4, and now we are 14 working in the law firm, plus 4 intern each 3 months. So you see that when we are on the top, we are 18 people working in sports law. Of course, I did not manage that in my mind at the beginning and say, we are going to build this. No, it just happened. And now, of course, the only thing I have in my mind is I don't want to grow more. I want to be able to be a craftsman. I'm a craftsman of sports law. I don't want to be in a big firm, and I don't want to have a big firm. The firm is big enough already, and I think that 14 plus 4, it's more than enough.
It's more than enough, for sure. Juan de Dios, what do you do daily? I mean, what are the matters that amount more time in your professional agenda on daily basis?
Okay, let's start by last Friday. Last Friday, we received a call from a club in the CONCACAF, which is the Antilles, Antilles and the center of America and the North of America, CONCACAF. And they have 24 hours to do an appeal because of a COVID issue, just because of the COVID issue. So we have to manage to learn the regulations, and we read that the disciplinary regulations were not in that confederation. They have to follow the FIFA ones. And that when you want to go to an appeal, there was no body to appeal, because the body was only for disciplinary cases, but not for this case of COVID, which was a case of suspension of a match or not suspension of a match. So you have to study. This is the first thing. Study, 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 because as you said, sports law is evolving daily basis, but not only as sport and the law, but also as regulations. This morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, no, Sunday afternoon, 7 o'clock, Sunday evening, 7 o'clock, we receive an email from CAS. I mean, if you are not aware that you have to be all day, anytime there, waiting for somebody to call you, you are not going to be a sport lawyer. So I receive, because each half an hour I check my emails. Even on weekends, sorry to say, but I receive an email from CAS. We need the sole arbitrator that is going to have your hearing, needs 2 documents before 9 o'clock. So I call my client in Italy, and we managed to send it this morning, 8 o'clock. And then we have the hearing this morning. After the hearing, I had to discuss a couple of contracts. Then now I am with you. Later on, I have clients from Bolivia waiting for me in another Zoom in order to prepare a cash appeal. So anything related to sport, any day.
Okay.
I'm not working too much in the field of transfers. Other lawyers probably are working a lot, but me, I'm doing transfer from time to time only.
Okay.
Everything.
And between all this stuff, all different things that you do as a lawyer, which is your preferred thing? Your preferred thing?
I have two, now I have three. It's like when you have a daughter and a boy, and you have to decide who is the one you love the most, or dad, or you ask your boys, who do you like most, your mama or your papa? In this case, I have three whom I love. One is hearings. I love to go to the hearings. This is extremely interesting because you don't have only the law, you don't have only sports, but you have also, if you want really to be a good lawyer, you can discuss philosophic issues, you can discuss anything you want. You know, it's something that I like a lot. Then lecturing. I love lecturing. Because this is what I liked when I was young. Nobody was lecturing me. So I love to discuss with the young blood coming in. And thirdly, I like to write about the law, write about sports and the law, in books or in a simple short in a newspaper one day about this or the other. I love all those things. I have no.
So you told us that you have with you working 14 lawyers and 4 interns. Are they?
Sorry, no COVID at all.
So are they young lawyers? Are they young lawyers?
The young, yeah, I'm the oldest one. This is.
No, you feel no. You told us that you feel so young, but the lawyers that are working with you, because I guess that many young promising lawyers are hearing this interview, and of course they would like to know whether your lawyers working with you are young or not.
Right now, minus me and 4 others that are maybe over 40, all the others are less than 40. So we are talking about a lot of young blood here. Yeah, right. And young blood from all over the world, from China to Canada, from Canada to Russia, Russia to Italy, Italy to Lithuania, Lithuania to Mexico, Mexico to Argentina, Uruguay, etc. So we have covered quite all the languages that matter in sport.
Okay, and which skills do you look for when you have to hire a new lawyer? And I'm speaking about academic skills, of course, and personal skills as well. Not only professional skills. What do you look for when you have to decide to take this lawyer or take this one?
I mean, to pick one or the other lawyer, I usually have been a professor of them, so I know them in one or the other master. Right now, I have people from the Real Madrid master, but from other masters too, working at the law firm. But what I want is that they are passionate about. I'm always saying the same. I really repeat myself once and again, but it is the truth. Passionate about sport and passionate about the law. This is 2 things that I need to see. Then, of course, in the side, let's say the strict side, they need to be able to speak at least 2 or 3 languages. If they speak more, much better. And they need to have an experience in sports law, not necessarily to be a lawyer in sports law, but to have had a master in sports law. Because if you come to a law firm and you don't know what FIFA is or what the CAS is or what BAT is, I can't give you a case. And all the guys and ladies that are right now as interns, there are 4 new interns, they did not come from the very first day, and I did not give them all cases. I talked to them, look, this is a new. Look at that. You have to, but now this, yes, this is a case, and we have to answer in 24 hours, or we have to answer in 10 days. You have to do that now because my client is waiting for your opinion. And the pressure. So they need to be able to resist the pressure. And how do you resist the pressure? Being cool, you might say, like Steve McQueen, coolness. And you have to be cool on the outside and on the inside too. How do you do that? I had a phrase that came from my mentor, and you are in your room waiting at 9 o'clock in the morning when you start, or 8 o'clock or 10, whenever you start. And then you arrive and you have a paper saying urgent. Wow, you become crazy. But then while you're looking at the urgent, your secretary comes and said, very urgent, another paper. And while you're looking at the urgent and the very urgent, another came and said, very, very, very urgent. So keep cool, keep calm, and I don't want to make a copy of Sir Winston Churchill, but keep calm. Yes, keep calm. And when you see that after 2 hours, the very much urgent is the only one that you have to take to deal with, the urgent dealt itself, and the very urgent is quite and almost finished too. So keep cool, keep calm.
Okay. Let's have a compromising question. Do you think that males and females lawyers have currently the same professional chances, opportunities?
Sorry, I haven't heard you well because of...
I was saying that, do you think that males and females lawyers have currently the same professional chances?
Who? Female.
Male and female lawyers.
Of course they have the same chances. Now, when I started, it was not the case because we were all male, quite all male. I mean, we're talking about 35 years ago. And now you can see female all around the world working as sports lawyer, not one. There's a new, not a new, but a sensation called WISLAW, Women in Sports Law. And they are not one, they are more than 200. So they are. Now, no one can say, I'm a woman and then I'm ousted from sports law at all. Not the case. I can assure you that male, female have the same opportunities right now. It was not the case before. It was not the case 30 years ago. But right now, I can assure you that it's not exactly what happened before. Now, everybody starts from the same starting block. And then the quicker will be the winner.
Okay. In more than 20 years, you have met many famous people, players, coaches, managers. Who has had the most impacting personality?
Question, my friend. This is a tricky question. I'm not going to answer that. Of course, there are a lot of people that I've loved to talk with.
Someone that you remember with a special sense of, oh, this guy is quite.
It's impossible. But let's say, I'm going not to name people, but one president of one club, one day when I arrived to his office, he just opened his shirt. He said, look, I have all the scars here. I'm not afraid of anything. So go on. He meant that I have to go and win the case. Yes, indeed. And I don't name people because it would be
unfair. Yeah.
Of ethics and quality for myself. No, let's just pass this question.
And the athlete or player that you would like to work with?
Players.
Player, athlete that you would like to work with? This like really do like me. I would like to work with him.
Wow. I would have loved to work with Michael Jackson. No,
He's dead. Come on.
just a joke. No, Pele would have been, but I was too young, of course. But Pele would have been. I think that Pele was a man who changed a bit the world of sport, of football, concretely. He was the one who was in New York when the Cosmos started. The Cosmos was, no, at that time, 70s, it was Cosmos and Studio 54 in New York. Cosmos were really players that were willing to have fun, and it was always full of people. The stadium was always full of people, 70,000, and I would have loved to be there managing Pele as a lawyer.
Okay. Among the thousand of cases that you had to deal with, which has been your favorite, if any?
This is the same as the children. You know, as the children, I have a lot of them. But let's say that one I was really willing to win, and when I won, I cried. It was a case 2002 with AS Roma, the Italian club. There was a clash in a Champions League match against the Galatasaray from Turkey. And we had at that time Capello, the coach of Roma, taking by the capelli, by the hair, one coach or a second coach of the other team. You have several players punching each other, like Totti, like Batistuta, etc. And the sanctions against the players, against the coach, and against the club itself. When we reach, after the first instance in the body in UEFA, we reached the appeals body. The appeals body was made not in UEFA in Lyon, but it was in Geneva, because we were a lot of people, so we decided to go to an hotel in Geneva. And we did our best during 6, 7, 8 hours there. The club was sanctioned by playing a match 50 kilometers from Rome. And it was the first time ever that a sanction like that was not fulfilled. Why? Because we won the case. And we were waiting for 25 minutes to have the decision without the grounds, of course. And it was not sent by email or by fax. The president of the panel of 5 people came to us and he said, "Mr. Crespo, come here." And he read in front of me. And at that time, I was with 2 other lawyers from Rome, Antonio Conte, and another lawyer who was there at that time, but not working anymore with him, with Antonio. And we embraced ourselves. And we jumped over and over. This was something. This is one of the cases. And the second one was a case of a Uruguayan player who had no money. It was the case against a Mexican club. And if we had lost this case, it would have been the end of his life, because he had no money at all. He was playing in the 3rd division, $200 in wage. And we managed to win. And the guy cried. He cried a lot. The wife cried too. And we cried, all of us. We cried because it was his life. And at that time, you can feel and you sense that you are doing something more than the mere sports law. That even a sports lawyer has also something to add to the law.
Yeah, of course. And the case that you don't want to remember?
Yes, I have this case. I have a couple of them, but mostly one of them was the case of Malaga against UEFA. One of the first, or if not the first, case of a big club, I mean a big league like a Spanish league or financial fair play, I think that we were sure to win. We had all the weapons to win, but we have in front of us UEFA, and it was the first big case, and we lost. But after that, all the lawyers of UEFA told me, Juan, you should have won. But this is the first case, and we are sure that maybe the pressure to the arbitration. I'm not saying that they were not independent, because they could have said yes or not. But mostly they should have said yes to me and not no. And the recognizing by the lawyers of UEFA that I was right gave me a bit less of harm that I had. But really, I was not happy with the decision.
Mhm. Well, two compromising questions. You had to choose within the sports family the institution that works better, which would be the one, and which would be the worst one.
You mean lawyers?
No, lawyers, institutions. No, of course, not lawyers.
Institutions.
To choose within the sports family the institutions that works better, the best, and the worst one.
I don't say that is the worst, but I said that maybe when I had a case against the Badminton International Federation, the disciplinary code was so badly drafted that I felt really sorry for them. At the end of the day, we settled the case. We settled the case because we were not in the winning side, but the disciplinary regulation was so badly drafted that we settled in favor of my client, of course. And this was maybe the worst scenario of a body that I've seen. Now it changed, of course. It's not the same, they changed. And regarding the best one, I can say FIFA right now.
FIFA right now. Okay.
Not before, but right now.
And well, to finish, what would you like to eliminate in the world of sports, or at least something that you consider that could be improved?
I mean, I would love to avoid anything about minors in football. I mean, the minors issue in football. Look, free the people. Let the people go free to one place to another. Just regulate the clubs, regulate the transfer, regulate the way one is going to another. But please don't forbid. Forbidden is forbidden. To forbid is forbidden, said in May 68 in Paris. To forbid is forbidden. I don't like to forbid. Regulate. So this is one of the issues that I'm from long time trying to change since the FIFA regulation 2001. Please let the young people, let the minors go freely from one place to another, provided, of course, that they are controlled, provided, of course, that they are under regulations, but not a total impeding of their freedom.
Okay. Last one. One really good thing that being a sports lawyer has given you.
Of course, one of the good things is to know a lot of people, to travel a lot of places, and to have the glamour to go to the final of Champions League, a Wimbledon match, a Roland Garros match, etc. So this is the best. The best is to be part of football or sports family, being a bad player of football, a bad player of basketball, a bad sportsman in everything, but to be there. So you are coming like a dream of this coming true. You're there with the other, not being good at any sport, but being good at sports law, which is now what helps you to achieve that dream of a boyhood.
Okay, so thank you so much, Juan. Well, we can have now or to answer to the questions made by the people who is looking at us. Well, Eduardo Carlo is asking, Given your experience, it makes sense that you do a bit of everything. Or for a certain sport lawyer, would you advise becoming generalist or instead specialize it in a specific area?
I mean, you have to be a sport lawyer first. Now, first you have to be a lawyer. I don't like when somebody is just ending the master without having been a lawyer first or a lawyer after. You need to have the knowledge of the law first. And once you have the knowledge of the law, you have the knowledge of sports law. Specialist is the specialism is given by the life itself. You don't ask to be this or that. A client comes, another client comes, and then at the end you're a specialist of this. My specialization is CAS. Why? I don't know. I love CAS. I'm very much in love with CAS, and CAS loves me because I have plenty of cases each year. But I'd rather prefer, and I would advise you to be a lawyer first, a sports lawyer after, and then specialism will come, or then you can choose. But don't choose before.
Okay. Ria is asking, what do you need to be a good sport lawyer? And saying that I have worked commercial law for 4 years and I want to try myself in a sports law. Is it necessarily to me to be at first a legal in some club? I guess that it's needed to work before in a club.
No, I don't think so. You don't need to go to a club and to work in a club. As I just said a minute ago, I was a international commercial lawyer. You have the knowledge of the law. You are a practitioner. You have the practice of the law, and then you go for the sports law immediately. Take into account that being a commercial lawyer gives you a lot of input already, a lot of input, because you can start with transfers, you can start with marketing, you can start with publicity, etc. Around the sport is not only the transfers and not only the breach of contract. There's a lot of issues around.
Yeah, true. And Pablo Laliña is asking, how important is to succeed in sports law to have a good networking?
Well, you need it, yeah, absolutely. You need a good networking. But networking is not enough. Everybody can have a networking, but you have to use properly the networking. This is the point. Use properly. How can you use properly? Being a nice guy, of course. You need to have what we say in Latin, do ut des. You receive and you give. Don't always ask and ask and ask. And be friendly with everyone, and build your networking, not only because of adding one name after the other in an agenda. You need really to make the networking live.
Okay. Sebastian Becker is asking, what are the main system problems you have found that lead to conflicts?
The main problems?
The main system problems you have found that lead to the conflict. This is exactly what he's asking. What are the main system problems you have found that lead to conflict? I'm not so sure.
I don't know the question really, conflict and how you can deal with the conflict. I mean, everything is a conflict. When you have two parties, one in front of the other, you have conflict. How do you deal with the conflict? First, you have to listen. Listen first. Of course, you have to be professional and to prepare your case perfectly. You have to know everything by heart. Everything by heart. You need to be more interested in the case than your own client. Your own client needs to have less knowledge of it than yourself. So once you get that, go with all your capacity of your knowledge, listen to the party. And the other day, I agree with a friend, but adversary of mine, in 3 different cases. We settle. When you open your mind and you listen, and you know what is the best for your client, because sometimes going to the court is not your best for your client, because the club is going to be in a couple of years, I don't know, ousted from the competition, because if you for a sanction, 3 points, now relegation and so on, at the end of the day you have nothing. So you have to try to listen, open your mind, and look at the best for your clients. The other day, a client received a call from somebody who said, look, we want to manage this issue. It was a case of 2016, 4 years ago. They called me and I told the client, look, they're offering only 45%, but it's a case that was already lost. Lost not because we won the case, but it was lost because the club did not exist anymore. And we knew that the club was going to be again in the competition, starting maybe for third division or second division. But my point was, make the client happy. Give him now the 40% after 4 years that he was waiting for, and forget about you're proud to win the case up to the end. Listen.
Well, the OCN is asking how to become a great sports lawyer in a country like Colombia that has so little development in this field.
I mean, as I said, you don't have to look at the others. In the morning when you wake up and you look at the mirror and you look at yourself, I'm going to be the best sport lawyer in the country. You know, like snowball. Huh? Who is the most beautiful? I'm the most beautiful one. And you start with that, and you start by working an hour before the others and ending another after the others, reading a lot, writing a lot, listening a lot, more than the others. And at the end of the day, they will be equal to you, but not better. You might not be better than them, but if you have done all this, I always make the comparison with Messi and Ronaldo. Messi is much more gift than Ronaldo. Or Federer is much more gift than Nadal. But Nadal and Ronaldo are very good players, most players, but they work more than the others. And maybe at the end of their career, they will have more success because they have worked more. So you might not be the best, but you can achieve to be the best.
Yeah. Well, I would say to Eduardo that, of course, to become a good lawyer in Colombia needs, first of all, to be very well prepared, first of all, by doing a good master, like master offered by Real Madrid. And besides, to live in a country where the sports law is not developed, far away from being a disadvantage, is an advantage. I mean, here a lawyer in Spain, or Spain is full of law firms, sports lawyer. So in Colombia, you have many room to become a really, really good sport lawyer. Would be my answer to this question. Eduardo Carlos is asking, the COVID quarantine measures had the side effect of accelerating the increase in popularity of esports. Do you think this is temporary, or rather esports are here to stay?
I mean, when I launched the esports part of my law firm 5 years ago, it's because I read one day that 60% of youngsters between 14 and 25 are esports players. So if you have a number of young players, not professional, but playing, 60% of people between 14 and 25, that means that at the end of the day, you will have professional players for sure. So, and I bet on that. I say, okay, this is going to be the future. Not right now, but it's going to be future. And the quarantine and the lockdown and so on has helped a lot esports to increase their knowledge around the world. People know now what esport is, and I'm sure that it's going to stay. Not necessarily to be a competitor to other sports, maybe just managing to be alongside. Because as you see, esports, you have football with esport, the FIFA games and so on. And when you see that the Olympic Committee is willing to have esport in the Olympic family, that means that they don't perceive them as an enemy. They perceive them as a complementary sport. So yes, it's going to stay for sure.
Alexia Bernier is asking because she would like to become a sports agent. And do you think that I need to learn about business and management for becoming an agent and a sports agent?
Yes, indeed. I mean, you can be an agent without nothing and just starting from scratch. That's clear. But my advice would be, if you want to be above other people, please start with an MBA. Will be really fine, and you will have a knowledge that others are lacking in this field.
Okay. So last question. Devin McNeil is asking, in June, new COVID-19 rules, no crowding of official and no celebrating. As a lawyer, no crowding, no celebrating. As a lawyer, did you agree with these rules? And could this be realistic, contain or control?
You mean the COVID rules?
Well, new COVID rules, no crowding of officials and no celebrating. I guess that is referring to a goal and the embrace of players or something like that.
Right. Well, I mean, when you're passionate and you score a goal, normally you embrace someone. It's difficult. Let's see the final of the World Cup. Even if we have a COVID, I'm sure that the 11 players and also the bench, everybody is going to embrace himself, and it will be maybe a COVID issue at the end of the day, but they will be so happy to be champions. We feel and we sense now there are less contact between the players, that's for sure, but let's say that COVID is going to end. Everything in his life is going to end, even life itself. So don't worry, COVID is going to end, and we're going to have again the hugs, the embraces, and everything that we are lacking right now.
So thank you so much, Juan de Dios, for your amazing comments, remarks, answers, and as I told you, you should know for all the attendance that Juan de Dios is one of our best lecturers, or always is evaluated by the students as the best one. His knowledge, his experience, life experience, not only related to sports law, and it's always a luxury to count on you. Thank you so much, Juan de Dios, and have a really, really nice afternoon.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Marisa. Thank you, Madrid and Universidad Europea. I will be there for years still lecturing if you want me. Thanks a lot. Cheers. And good luck to all the students, all the people that are willing to be into sports law.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.